Have you ever felt the ground shift beneath your feet, like everything you thought was solid suddenly crumbles in an instant? The scent of pine and damp earth lingers, but dawn in the woods feels cold, almost ominous. An uneasy silence blankets the campsite. Hannah wakes up, heart pounding. The tents, the cars, her family, gone. All that remains is a weathered picnic table and a folded note from Mark. This is for the best. Trust me. Was it a joke, a mistake, or something darker? Why would her family disappear without a trace? What shadows hide behind their silence? The unanswered questions echo in her mind, each one pulling her deeper into a mystery that could threaten everything. This family once believed they'd be together forever. They believed love was unbreakable. But sometimes, love isn't enough. When someone you trust turns into a stranger, how do you hold on? How do you rebuild when your world's shattered and the answers hide in shadows? In the quiet aftermath, Hannah must face nightmares she never knew existed. Trust betrayed, grief turned to resilience, a path forward forged from pain. And as the sun rises over the woods, so too must she find her way through darkness, into hope, into healing. Because some stories aren't over. Not yet. The crackle of the campfire mixes with the scent of rain-damp pine. Emma's small hand, trembling, clutching mine tight. I can feel her warmth, her unspoken fears buried deep beneath her quiet strength. Outside, the night hums with insects, an almost peaceful lullaby. But there's this heaviness in the air, like the woods are holding secrets. Emma's eyes, sharp beyond her years, catch my distant gaze. Her face a mask of calm, but I see the storm brewing inside her. She speaks softly, voice steadier than I'd expect. "Mom, are we really okay?" Those words hit harder than the crackling flames. Nothing's really okay anymore. Not after everything. I want to tell her we're going to heal. Just like the fire's glow eventually dims, we'll find our way back. But how do you rebuild trust when betrayal lurks in the shadows? When the person you thought you knew becomes a stranger? The wilderness around us feels like a fragile shield, hiding truths we're afraid to face. Our journey wasn't supposed to be like this, full of grief, secrets, and sparks of hope. Yet here we are, holding on to each other amidst the silence, trying to make sense of a story still unfolding. Somewhere between loss and resilience, we step forward, knowing the darkness might never fully lift. But maybe, just maybe, we can find a flicker of hope, because some stories aren't finished yet. We pulled into the campsite near Lake Crescent. The air smelled like rain and pine, a soft, damp scent that wraps around you as the trees stand silent guardians. The picnic tables and logs for sitting made it feel like the woods were waiting, holding secrets. Emma's small shoe nudged a moss patch, her eyes bright with wonder. "Mom, look, a squirrel, and he has a nut," she whispered, voice full of awe. Mark and Caroline jumped into action, tents unfolding like they'd done this 1,000 times. Mark already had his hatchet, like he was ready to carve his destiny. Caroline wiped her sunglasses, calm as ever. This is it, I thought. No emails, no chaos, just us in the woods. I chuckled softly. Just family. But that word, did it really mean what I hoped? Were we actually fixing anything here? As Emma scampered over stones, I watched her, hoping maybe nature could heal the cracks. Maybe disconnecting from everything would erase the ache in my chest. Or maybe not. That night by the fire, wrapped in a blanket, I sipped herbal tea, watching Emma and Jake argue over marshmallows. Emma's tongue stiff with concentration, Jake's face coated in chocolate, pure, innocent chaos. I laughed, deep, genuine, like I hadn't in a long time. Caroline poured hot cider. Mark and Dad squabbled over firewood, trying to outdo each other. Mom was scrubbing her hands on some random apron she brought, as if it could somehow keep us safe. With each crackle, with each scent of toasted marshmallow and damp earth, I wondered, Maybe we weren't just surviving. Maybe, just maybe, it's possible to find a spark of hope hidden in the darkest nights. Because even as grief weighs heavy, life whispers that healing is a slow burn, fragile, fierce, and waiting to be rediscovered. That night lingers, the calm before a storm, maybe. Hannah stands rooted, eyes fixed on a dim porch light flickering against the night. The silhouette behind the curtains shifts, like a shadow with secrets. Her hand tightens on the railing, trembling, heart pounding loud enough to drown out the distant rustle of leaves. Inside, a faint whisper. Was it her mind, or something darker? Did Mark hide something? Was he protecting her, or betraying her again? Every instinct screams, but she's frozen, caught between trust and doubt. The night's silence deepens, heavy with unsaid truths. She's so close to stepping through that door, to uncover what lies behind that restless shadow. Her breath catches. What will she find when she finally pushes open the door? The answer waits in the darkness, just out of reach. The sky darkened as a cold rain began to fall, droplets tapping on the tense fabric. Hannah's trembling fingers brushed against the torn piece of paper, the note she'd found earlier. But now, beneath it, her eyes caught something else. Something tucked into a hidden compartment, sealed behind a loose fold. With hesitance, she peeled back the faded paper, her senses sharpening. Inside lay an old, crumpled photograph, sepia-toned and weathered with time. It showed Mark, smiling softly, arms around a woman who didn't look familiar, unrecognizable even. On the back, faint words. Weeks ago, 1999. A shiver ran down Hannah's spine. Wait. Mark's silence, his lies, they weren't just recent. They ran far deeper. Hidden behind layers of betrayal, decades of secrets had been buried right in plain sight. Her mind spun. Could the family she loved be built on a lie that stretched back years? Every instinct screamed for answers. But some truths, it seemed, were locked in shadows, waiting to be uncovered. How many more surprises lurked beneath the surface? How much of her story was truly her own? The past was calling her out, louder than ever. The question now, is she ready to face what's been hidden all along? Make it, I said, just that. It sounded stupid, ridiculous even, yet it was the only truth I could hold on to. Day one, I made a choice. Follow the stream. Could it lead to something? Maybe a lake, a trail, a road, someone, anything that might save us. We packed what little we had, the tent, Emma's small backpack, and I carried the rest. We hiked maybe 3 miles, setting up at the water's edge, trying to pretend we weren't trembling. I lit a tiny fire, offered Emma half a protein bar, a sip of water. "Mom, aren't you eating?" "I already did," I lied. She didn't argue, just nodded. That lie was my shield, a fragile armor against what was coming. Day 2. Emma washed her face in the stream, so grown up in her quiet strength. I gathered dry branches, no food left, just movement, just pushing forward. My muscles ached, but stopping wasn't an option anymore. Day 3. Hunger grew louder. It stopped feeling like a feeling and became a constant roar beneath our ribs. Emma slowed, dark shadows under her eyes. We halted early. I went scavenging. Thank God for Grandma's old lessons on foraging in Washington. I found huckleberries, then salal berries, then thimbleberries. I held out a handful. Emma smiled, her first in 2 days. We ate them one at a time, savoring what felt like a feast. Day 4. More luck, hazelnuts, wild onions. Emma watched me carefully as I inspected each plant. Poison was a luxury we couldn't afford. We kept moving, silent now, senses sharp. Day 5. We stumbled onto an abandoned ranger station, a wreck, spider-webbed, the roof barely hanging on. Inside, nothing but a rusted can of salt. Clutching it, I felt a glimmer of hope. That night, Emma shivered. I touched her forehead, hot, bright with fever. "Mom, I'm cold," she whispered. I didn't sleep. I gave her water, laid wet cloths across her brow, scoured outside for willow bark, brewed makeshift aspirin tea. I begged I wouldn't poison her. Day 6. The fever clung on. I brewed tea from bitter dandelion greens. Clutching at straws, I prayed. Something I never do except now. Something inside me hoped, maybe still believed. Day 7. The fever finally broke. Emma stirred, weak but alive. I gathered more berries, tucked them into my shirt, and watched her sleep again. Each step, hesitant, fragile, yet somehow charged with a quiet resolve. No words, no promises, just the unspoken truth. The fight to survive, no matter what. Rain pelts the windshield as Hannah presses her palm against the glass, staring into a world blurred by storm and shadows. Missing pieces, truths buried deep, lie beneath her steadfast exterior. She's resilient, but tonight her heart feels cracked open. Emma's breath is shallow in the hospital bed, her small hand clutching her mother's, silent but screaming. The storm outside mirrors the turmoil inside, and then, through the pounding rain, a whistle cuts sharply, a familiar sound. Hannah's eyes snap up, senses sharpening. It's Mark. She recognizes the shape, but behind him, a stranger emerges, smirking, clutching a thick envelope. The air thickens with unspoken secrets. Her pulse quickens. Is this rescue, or is it a trap? Her mind races. Has Mark been hiding something all along? The rain's scent mingles with her rising adrenaline. Every nerve on edge. The truth unravels in a flash. Betrayal, concealment. A revelation so cold it freezes her blood. The storm isn't just behind the clouds now. It's in her chest. The storm of secrets, of trust broken and hope shattered, ready to reshape everything she thought she knew. In a world built on lies, who can Hannah really trust? And what's waiting just beyond the storm's edge? The screen flickers. I sit, stunned, heart pounding like a drum in my chest. A message appears, cryptic, haunting. It's from Mark, an encrypted voice memo, hidden in a file I never knew existed. I tap it, cautiously. The voice, faint but clear, reveals a secret rendezvous. Months ago, a place I'd never imagined Mark visiting. Every detail sharpens. The hum of the old fan, a faint scent of worn paper, the room thick with silence. My breath catches. How could I have trusted him? Or was this just the surface? My fingers tremble as I realize this isn't just a slip, but a piece of something much darker. Perhaps Mark's part in all of this goes deeper than I thought. It's not just betrayal. It's a puzzle I'm dazed to piece together. Dangerous, volatile. Now the lines blur. Who do I really know in this house? And what's waiting just behind the storm I never saw coming? That last moment in the courthouse, it hits harder than you'd expect. Everything's frozen, the air thick with suspicion and unspoken truths. Hannah sits there, heart pounding, eyes not leaving Mark, Caroline, the tired-looking parents. Behind her, the echoes of betrayal pulse like a distant drum. These people who once seemed so familiar now appear as strangers cloaked in silence. Mark's voice is strained, claiming Hannah walked into the forest. As if that explains everything. But Hannah knows better. She can feel the cracks in their story. Something's been hidden, something important, just out of reach. The courtroom feels colder than the rain outside. She's fighting to hold her composure, yet her mind races. 1,000 questions. Did Mark betray her all along? Was her trust misplaced? Or was her hope just a fragile light flickering in the dark, about to go out? The truth's buried beneath layers of lies. And Hannah, she's ready to dig. After David died, you started posting strings of dark stuff, screaming into the void, crying that you were drowning, that nothing was ever really going to get better. I remember scrolling, chuckling bitterly. How could you say all that? then spin it into insurance scams. My laugh was dry, heavy with disbelief. You responded by pulling us into your grief, twisting it into a pawn in your game. We didn't want to hurt you. We were scared. That's all. We tried to hold on, to protect, but it wasn't enough. Then David Kim slides that page across the table. His handwriting, the signature not matching. A new will. The notary involved? Under federal review. The FBI's already got a file open. It's all a jungle of secrets. Meanwhile, Caroline's knuckles go white, clutching her water bottle, trying to stay steady. Later, I get an email. Our bank account frozen, assets in limbo, legal filings to protect everything. Minutes. 10 days. That's all it took to declare us dead, to forge a will, to plan the takeover, the insurance payout, the shattering betrayal. That night, Emma and I are hiding out, fresh from the hospital. She's curled up on the couch, blanket around her, clutching hot cocoa. Her voice breaks. "Mom, they really thought we were gone forever." I just nod, heavy with the truth. They weren't just scared. They wanted us erased. But we fought back. We came back. I tell her softly, "Yeah, baby, we did." Next morning, I sit across from the district attorney, truth spilling out piece by piece. The plan, the fake note, photos, the original will from years ago that named Emma as my sole heir. The notary, under investigation, starting to talk. The handwriting? Confirmed. Discrepancies that crack the perfect plan wide open. By evening, it's on the news. Our story is out there, but beneath the surface, something darker still lurks. Because trust, it's been shattered into a million pieces, and the real question is, who can we really believe anymore? Mother and daughter survived 10 days in Olympic National Park after being left behind. Now prosecutors question whether the family moved too quickly to declare them dead and claim financial benefits. I watched the report, stunned, not just by how close we came to disappearing, but how quickly they'd started carving up what we left behind, as if we were already ghosts. Agents told me the case had been referred to federal prosecutors. Mark Harper, Caroline Harper, Linda, and Robert Harper, all listed as persons of interest. The notary, now testifying under oath, may receive a plea deal in exchange for full cooperation. This wasn't over. It was just beginning. Trial was next, and this time I'd be in the room. 3 weeks after Emma and I made it back to Seattle, the preliminary hearing took place at the King County Courthouse. It wasn't a full trial yet. No jury, no final verdict, but it was the moment where the court decided if there was enough evidence to move forward with criminal charges against Mark, Caroline, and my parents, Linda and Robert Harper. We arrived early that morning. Emma sat next to me in the hallway outside the courtroom, her hair in tight braids, her favorite worn-out chapter book resting on her knees. I couldn't stop staring at the door we'd soon be called through. We were called in first. My attorney, David Kim, walked beside me, calm and precise. The prosecutor, a sharp-eyed woman in her 40s wearing a navy suit-like armor, presented the evidence. The original note mark left in the forest, a forged will naming him as beneficiary. Confirmation from the insurance company that a $1.5 million claim had been filed. A handwriting analysis showing my signature on the new will was faked. Banking logs and emails showing attempts to access my accounts and take control of Red Pine Coffee. Then came the notary. His name was Martin Shaw, pale, middle-aged, with shaky hands and a crumpled expression. The courtroom was quiet. So quiet, you could hear a pin drop, or maybe just the soft rustle of leaves outside. Then, suddenly, Mark stands up. His voice trembles as he spills the truth he's been hiding all along. "I doctored the will," he whispers, eyes glinting with desperation. "I needed to hide something, a secret I couldn't let come out." The judge's eyes widen, and a cold breeze sneaks through the open window, as if nature itself is recoiling from the shock. Hannah's breath catches. Emma's face goes pale. The trust that held this fragile family together shatters in an instant. What was buried beneath years of silence now crashes into the surface. Gritty, brutal, undeniable. Secrets that once hid in shadows are finally exposed, threatening everything Hannah fought to protect. The weight of betrayal hangs thick in the air, almost like dusk settling in early, unrelenting. The truth's out, and nothing will be the same again. I was lying in bed, staring at the ceiling, when I noticed a faint rustle coming from the corner of the room. At first, I thought it was just the wind slipping through the cracks, or maybe the house settling after years of standing strong. But then, a slow, deliberate sound caught my attention. A whisper of paper, almost like a secret trying to escape. I sat up, heart pounding, eyes fixed on the shadowy corner. There, tucked between the pages of an old family photo album, was a small, battered envelope. Its seal was torn just enough to see a glimpse of handwriting. Mark's handwriting. My fingers trembled as I reached for it. The moment I touched it, a rush of cold air filled the room, and the soft glow of the street lamp outside cast long, eerie shadows across the walls. Just as I was about to peel it open, a sudden creak from the hallway froze me. My pulse skyrocketed. What was Mark hiding all this time? And what truths are about to come spilling out with this fragile piece of paper? The silence stretched thick. Every nerve in my body screamed, weighing on me. The unknown waits behind that door. What secrets, what lies, what betrayals are waiting to be revealed? I'm about to find out. Are you ready to see what's really hidden in the shadows? Ever wonder what it feels like when everything you trust crumbles in a heartbeat? Imagine standing in a dimly lit room, the scent of rain lingering outside, candle flickering shadows dancing across your face. Hannah clutches a faded family photo, trembling, tears streaking her cheeks. Her heart pounds. Betrayal, grief, secrets, all collide in that heavy silence. This isn't just about loss. It's about uncovering the lies that have been buried deep. How far would you go to find the truth? As Hannah confronts Mark and Emma, the air thickens. Every unspoken word, every broken promise cracks open wide. Then she exhales, a crack in her armor as her voice wavers. It was never about revenge. It was about finding peace. In that fragile moment, vulnerability blooms into acceptance. Healing begins as chaos turns to calm.